Now, what I just told you there was one reason I was shocked today to hear that NDIS Minister Bill Shorten is quitting the Albanese government, quitting politics in February after twice leading Labor to an election and twice losing, the last time only just. Taking Malcolm Turnbull's, and before that he took Malcolm Turnbull's Liberals to the wire.
I've decided not to seek a seventh term in Parliament. My actions are my choice.
And that's true, said the Prime Minister, who's Shorten's big rival from the left. I did not push him out.
Bill and I have had a number of conversations over this, about this over a period of time.
No, I think we can be sure that if Bill Shorten is leaving, it is because he's given up on this government. He has given up also on ever becoming a Labor leader again. And as he also said today, he's now got a great new job, Vice-Chancellor of Canberra University, where the last bloke got a crazy salary of nearly $1.8 million a year. But in the meantime, Shorten is staying loyal to Labor, is keeping his growing frustration with the Albanese government to himself.
I genuinely consider myself to be one of the luckiest people in politics. I've been the member for Maribyrnong. It's a community I love so much. I've had the privilege to serve in portfolios that I care about. There was the bushfire reconstruction, industrial relations, superannuation. When I first came here, the Junior Minister for Disabilities, and now the Minister for the National Disability Insurance Scheme. And for nearly 6 years, I had the very amazing privilege of serving as leader of our party and the movement which has been such an irreplaceable part of my life.
But here's the huge worry. Bill Shorten is of the shrinking Labor right faction. It's always been in the Bob Hawke style, both as a union boss and then a Labor leader, strongly pro-Israel, pro-American, pro-common sense. But now he's on the outer in a government of the hard left, the wokest government in our history. Joining me is Bill Shorten's former Chief of Staff when he was the opposition leader, Cameron Milner, who's now Director of GXO Strategies and a regular commentator on the Bolt Report. Cameron, thank you so much for your time. Why do you think Bill Shorten is going? Is it because he thinks the Albanese government is heading for the cliff?
Well, I think he had an offer too good to refuse. He had the opportunity to work with 20 people who are really competent, who wanted real change for the thousands of students at the University of Canberra to make their lives better and to produce great outcomes, rather than sit around the Albanese cabinet. The reality is that Bill, though, is choosing the time and leaving of his own choice, which is a rare thing in politics, Andrew. I mean, most people either get stabbed in the back or have to get voted out to leave their office. That's, I think, the fate for Albanese, the way he's treating this government and treating voters with contempt. But I think Bill got there. He's done a great thing with the NDIS. That'll be remembered like Medicare as a great social construct for the benefit of all Australians. So he's done that great work. But yes, as I said, he's got the opportunity to go and do great things with really competent people who are really good at their jobs, who actually want to affect real change. And that's at the University of Canberra.
Well, I suspect a number of people might regard the NDIS as a great sinking hole of funds. I mean, it's just been incredible. I know it's trying to rein it in, but no one's managed it.
Bill's reforms last week in the Parliament have set that straight, though, with the support of the Coalition and indeed people like Pauline Hanson.
Well, not quite, because it's it still projects growing call on income, so we shall see, on taxes, so we shall see. But leave that to one side. Bill Shorten has been leader of the Labor right in a government that's lurched way to the left. Look at what it's doing to Israel, for instance. Now, I know he's been increasingly isolated, but losing him now completely to this government, that's got to be a big loss.
Well, it's a huge loss, but it's the choice of the leadership of the ALP right. I mean, they've sidelined Bill. They tried to finish him off from being a minister at the start of this Albanese government. Imagine not having him there in this particular cabinet. Richard Marles runs the National Right. Richard Marles, when Bill was in the Victorian right, it was 50+1.
Can I cough a little?
More than half the party was in the Victorian right.
It surprised you saying that. Can I just I want to register a little dissent there. Richard Marles does not run the Labor right. He has been run over with the Labor right. I mean, he is nothing like Bill Shorten.
That's right. Well, but no, and under Richard Marles, their leadership of the Victorian right, it's shrunk to 20%. They used to meet in the meeting room. Now they can meet in Richard Marles's closet. They're so small. So look, no. I mean, the reality is the right in Victoria, it's been smashed. In New South Wales, it's completely compromised by Chinese money and their position on Gaza and their position on the Middle East. And in Queensland, look, I think they couldn't even meet a cricket team. So Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland right have been smashed. They're not what they used to be. The left control those states and dominant. Don Farrell is the last bastion of centrist thinking in the Labor Party. But he's in the Senate and he's got a small group of people. So Albanese runs the show, the left run the show, and it's not what it once used to be. But ultimately, the test, Andrew, is the voters. Voters of Australia get to choose whether the Labor Party can be as left as they are and as extreme as they are on so many issues that centrist Australians, moderate Australians, don't actually agree with them on.
Now, I disagree with a number of the policies that Bill Shorten presented. And I was struck, and I talked to colleagues of his about how he should improve his performance, because he just seems insincere as soon as he gets in front of a TV camera, which I think is unfair in a lot of ways. I think he's been, public service minded. He's been pretty honest as far as I can tell. And he is sincere about what he wants. And I noted that he got warm tributes today from Peter Dutton and Tony Abbott, among others. What don't voters get about him? Because he lost one election, he nearly pulled off a miracle win, and then he happened to pull off a miracle loss against Malcolm Turnbull, of all people.
Well, I think the thing is that Bill started from a very long way behind. So after the shambles of Rudd-Gillard-Rudd, we had 55 seats in the federal parliament, and he had to start from a very low base, and he got within one seat. He finished off Tony Abbott and almost finished off Malcolm Turnbull. Now, Malcolm Turnbull's involved in a lot of self-harm as the Prime Minister, so, he helped a lot in that campaign. But ultimately, Bill was ahead in all those news polls. But I think what happened in 2019 when Malcolm Turnbull was run over by Scott Morrison was Labor failed to reset. Labor didn't realise they're up against a different opponent. So I think looking back, 2019 and 2016 were all about conviction politics, putting your ideas before the people and asking for them to vote for it, rather than slipping and sliding into office the way Albo did. And then what happens when he gets to government? I mean, so at least Shorten had the conviction of his own background, his own Labor values, and wanted to put a mandate before the people of Australia, unlike his successor. And look how bad Albanese has been in government. So look, I think personally, Bill Shorten would have been a great Prime Minister, Andrew, but that's not the opportunity he's been given.
Well, I suspect he would have been better than Malcolm Turnbull. I've got to be honest with you, Cameron. Cameron Milner, thank you so much indeed for your time.
It's a low bar.